So the first one is mostly in terms of timing, the different section. And I think what I'm really good at is getting the first 10 questions in 10 minutes down, but then seem to lose track of my pacing after that. So what would you recommend in terms of pacing between the 10th question and the end? And then related to that, how would you recommend identifying which ones to flag and how many to flag and then come back to at the end of the section?
Sure. So personally, I would typically flag 3 or 4 questions, and I would recognize those as being the ones that are most difficult for me. So there will be some variation from person to person, what you find most difficult, but a
Hmm.
couple of candidates that typically I want to flag, and many students do as well, are longer questions with more words. So parallel reasoning, principal application questions, and questions involving complex vocabulary, especially topics on philosophy, aestheticism, art, and then, of course, science, anything especially technical or unfamiliar.
Okay.
Those would be good
Hmm.
questions to skip. If they appear in the first 10, of course, then they're probably not so hard because the method of reasoning, at least, will be simple. But those are ways
Right.
that LSAC ramps up the difficulty. As for the question of
Okay.
time allocation after question number 10, I don't really have any specific recommendations on this. There is a general increase in difficulty as you go forward, but the last couple may be a little bit easier as well. And so typically I'll find that questions 15 through 22 or 15 through 23 are the
Okay.
toughest. And that's usually the range from which I'll pull my 3 or 4 questions.
Okay. All right, great. And would you say somewhere around 1 minute and 30 seconds for those other questions, or how would you, if the 10 minutes are kind of done, how would you recommend breaking up the timing among the rest of the questions?
I don't think about it specifically. I don't want to overanalyze every single or have benchmarks for
Sure.
every single question or even every 5 questions. I think the first 10,
Mhm.
that's really where I leave off with benchmarks. After that, you could say, well, a minute 30 versus a minute 40. How significant is that
Right.
difference really? Obviously, 10 seconds can make a difference, but for me, it's more like my toughest questions. I might spend 2 minutes or more, but then something else will be more
Mhm.
intuitive and I might still get through number 11 or 12 in 1 minute. So for me,
Right.
it's really about getting through the first 10 quickly, building up a time bank to tackle the more difficult questions a little bit more slowly, and then circling back to those toughest 3 and 4 that I flagged at the very end and giving them whatever they need mixed with whatever time I have remaining. Thanks for tuning into the show. Please subscribe if you haven't done so already to be notified of new episodes as I release them. And feel free to reach out if you need anything at all as you move forward with your prep. I'm happy to help however I can. In the meantime, I'll wish you all the best and take care.